Yoshita, just before I come across to you, let's play out what US President Joe Biden had to say when he announced the killing of al-Zawahiri.
My fellow Americans, on Saturday, at my direction, the United States successfully concluded an airstrike in Kabul, Afghanistan that killed the emir of al-qaeda. He was deeply involved in the planning of 9/11, one of the most responsible for the attacks that murdered 2,977 people on American soil. For decades, he was the mastermind behind attacks against Americans, including the bombing of the USS Cole in 2000, which killed 17 American sailors and wounded dozens more. He played a key role in the bombing of U.S. embassies in Kenya and Tanzania, killing 224 and wounding over 4,500 others. Now, justice has been delivered, and this terrorist leader is no more.
Let me take this across now to Yoshita Singh, PTI correspondent who's joining us from New York. Yoshita, good evening. Osama bin Laden, Abu Bakr al-Baghdadi and now Ayman Al-Zawahiri, another decisive moment for the United States in the fight against terror.
Yes, absolutely. This is a big success for U.S. counterterrorism efforts, and this one coming really within a year of the takeover of Afghanistan by the Taliban in August last year. And several UN reports that were released here, they had been constantly mentioning al-Zawahiri about, there was a report that I did that said that he is, he has ill health. Reports of his death previously, but which were not confirmed. So, he was active in the, obviously in the group and continued to come out with a lot of videos. There were since August 2021, for instance, there were about 8 videos in which al-Zawahiri had appeared. And so he was constantly kind of motivating, and he was at the leadership of the group. But this attack that killed him is a big blow to obviously al-qaeda, and also in a way going forward we'll see how this plays out with the Taliban in Afghanistan, given that there were assurances that the Afghan soil will not be used to host terrorists that launch attacks against countries in the region and also against the US. So, but definitely a big success and a big huge day for the Biden administration.
Any details, operational details, Yoshita, about how this was possible? Because we know that the United States had no troops on the ground and this was a drone strike. So they had clear, very sizable inputs about, al-Zawahiri's location.
Right. So the initial reports that are coming in say that the American intelligence agencies, and this I'm citing the New York Times and other reports that said that al-Zawahiri was first sort of reported in Kabul earlier this year, and then the intelligence agency spent these several months to sort of identify whether it is actually him before carrying out any such strike. And once his whereabouts were confirmed, once it was confirmed that yes, it is al-Zawahiri himself who's staying with his family in this house in Kabul, bang in the middle of Kabul, once all that was determined, it was only then that President Biden then gave a go-ahead for this operation. And it is believed that one information that kind of stands out is that this house in Kabul where al-Zawahiri was sort of struck, he used to come out on the balcony of that house very often, and there was a pattern as to how he lived there. And this pattern is what the American intelligence agencies sort of focused on, zeroed in on, and they said that they discovered that he used to come on this balcony, and which is where he was eventually struck. So again, it took a lot of months of detailed intelligence inputs and tracking down using other means to ensure that when the U.S. hits the target, it actually gets who the U.S. wants. And in the end, I believe President Biden gave the go-ahead only a week ago, and it was Saturday evening here, Sunday morning, early in Kabul when this strike took place.
Yoshita, has there been any statement from the United States on another aspect of this? The fact that al-Zawahiri was in Kabul will raise questions about whether the Taliban was shielding the al-qaeda chief. Has there been any statement from America on that?
Not that I have read yet, but again, there are a lot of other intelligence officials and experts who say that this going forward will obviously be the focus also, like I said, given when the Taliban took over and the agreements that were between America and the Taliban was, and again, even in the UN Security Council, I mean, when India was the president of the council last August, and this was one of the key resolutions that was passed that said that the Afghanistan soil would not be used for attacks and to harbor terrorists, and also so that they can launch attacks in the region. So going forward, this will definitely be the focus of how the U.S. and Taliban then kind of deal with the situation, because apparently al-Zawahiri was first initially in Pakistan, then he moved over to Afghanistan after the fall of Kabul last year. So the fact that they were able to move across borders obviously raises questions as to how the Taliban gave sanctuary, or the al-qaeda leader was able to live in Afghanistan right in the middle of Kabul under Taliban rule, despite the fact that there were assurances or deals with American officials in this.